then in the 60s, straighten out the Kissimmee. This didn't happen yesterday. We as a human race, United States wide, we contribute to all of the pollution that is around us. We can continue to point the finger at somebody else until we decide ourselves that we can make a difference. So as myself as county commissioner, I would continue to enforce septic to sewer. I would also educate you guys on the fertilizer ordinance we have in our area. Martin County has a fertilizer ordinance, and we're not paying attention to that. So we have to be accountable in our own backyard, and on top of it, I will be a voice for our neighbors to the south of us and to the north of us. Because Orlando, believe it or not, their water comes south. How are we making them accountable for what's happening to our waterways? So that's super important to know, one, how we got here, two, how are we going to change our future here locally, and what are we going to do when we go to Tallahassee and making those accountable and making our neighbors accountable? I will fight hard for that. That's who I am. I will work hard for that, and I will continue to do that as your water ambassador and your future county commissioner.
How do you stop your neighbor from dumping in your backyard?
Let's hold on. Okay? Let's hold on.
Learning about the effects and learning about what happens to our reefs, our grass fires, all that. It has to start here. We can blame the feds and blame the state and blame our legislatures. And yes, they are the final decision makers. However, it has to start here at home. 1 out of 5 people that I meet in Martin County have no idea about the projects, about the reservoir, about the water farming projects, the C-44 projects. And until we inform the public and turn these 500 emails, a month or whatever into 3,000, that's how we're going to get the funding to fund these projects. There's projects online, there's planned projects. And our local government is relying on a handful of small nonprofits to do all the legwork on this. One thing I will do as District 4 County Commissioner is I will start to hold town hall meetings. We haven't had a town hall meeting in I don't remember how long. And I will hold it to start bi-monthly town hall meetings. I will invite the Army Corps of Engineers, South Florida Water Management, FWC, and the Environmental Department from Martin County, and invite the entire public. And let's get answers. Let's put our legislatures, let's put our water management districts, let's put them where they need to be. Let's inform the public, education.
We can continue to point the finger at somebody else until we decide ourselves that we can make a difference. So as myself as county commissioner, I would continue to enforce septic to sewer. I would also educate you guys on the fertilizer ordinance we have in our area. Martin County has a fertilizer ordinance, and we're not paying attention to that. So we have to be accountable in our own backyard, and on top of it, I will be a voice for our neighbors to the south of us and to the north of us. Because Orlando, believe it or not, their water comes south. How are we making them accountable for what's happening to our waterways? So that's super important to know, one, how we got here, two, how are we going to change our future here locally, and what are we going to do when we go to Tallahassee and making those accountable and making our neighbors accountable? I will fight hard for that. That's who I am. I will work hard for that, and I will continue to do that as your water ambassador and your future county commissioner.
Replay just like the lottery dollars. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to get to Tallahassee, and I hope that everyone that's sitting in this room right now during election time will join, no matter who is commissioner. And I hope that I'm representing you and get to Tallahassee and fight for those dollars they promised for water quality. The state is growing, and we need to implement and build some of those projects. Whether it be Amendment 1 money, I will be in Tallahassee fighting for your money. Of course, I will be supporting septic to sewer and all of our local BMP, basin runoff, but we need to secure the funding to build our projects, and I will be an advocate for that. The majority of the talk in this last conference that I went to was everywhere around the state they have water problems. They have water problems with their springs. They have water problems in the northern part of the state, in the panhandle. We are competing in Tallahassee with all those interests, and we need to get mobilized, collaborate together, and get up there and bring that funding back to Martin County.
Well, the simple answer to your question is there's not much being done, and that's because there's no political will. You don't have the right politicians in place who are going to make the tough decisions and the right decisions to implement the Evergreen Restoration Plan. We need to spend the Amendment 1 money, which is part of the grant to purchase the land that is necessary. We need to stop dirty water coming from Orlando through the Kissimmee River Basin down to Lake Okeechobee. We need to create reservoirs to help store water and clean water, and we need to send clean water down to the Everglades where it belongs.
Yes.
The water that goes from Lake Okeechobee through C-44 has to be clean. It has to be clean water that comes in there. And on both sides of Lake, on C-44, you have to have proper drainage measures like the C-44 reservoir and also the Alapata flats, which will help in cleaning the water before it's discharged into C-44. And finally, most people forget this, but we need to clean out the river bottom, especially southward of the St. Lucie River, because it's polluted, there's a heavy layer of contaminants on the bottom.
Yes, yes.
So that's my answer. You need to elect the right politicians who are going to take action immediately.
Yes, I agree with that.
The backlog runs into the hundreds of millions of dollars. Yet voters 1 year ago rejected a 1% sales tax hike to address this. Question is, how can Martin County shore up its infrastructures if voters aren't willing to pay more to do so?
So I think it's time that we really re-examine our budget. It's time for us to be extremely shrewd on our spending. The problem is, locally, nationally, when government has money, they find ways to spend it. It's time for us, we have to change that here in Martin County. Again, we have to be shrewd on our spending, analyze each project. We have to analyze our wants versus our needs. And again, we just have to be really shrewd. And would I support a sales tax referendum? I would have to really, truly be shown that we truly need it before I would support it. I would want to start with really what I said first.
Obviously, hearing you guys tonight, any of our waterways is number one. So supporting that septic to sewer, that's absolutely. So there may be some other things that are expenditures that we need to evaluate, and I can do them. I know there's ways that we can make our high priority and make it work. We have to make ourselves responsible to you as the citizen before we come back and ask you to vote to give us more money. We can't show you we're fiscally responsible now. How are you going to vote for it again? So that's how I feel about that. I think we need to look at ourselves with them and comparison of our true budget the way it is. And then we need to give you some real answers and some real differences in Martin County before we ask for that.
I think the best way to approach the deferred maintenance issue is first to accept that we're never going to catch up. So there's a reality to this. As was stated, hundreds of millions of dollars in deferred maintenance. This didn't happen overnight. No different than the reality issue. It didn't happen overnight. These are things that have been fostered for many, many years and ignored again by political people. Political will has ignored the need to ensure that we maintain the infrastructure. Government, in my opinion, has a very simple, unique responsibility, and first to provide public safety issues and public safety needs for both our sheriff and our firefighters, and to ensure that we maintain, build infrastructure that supports and maintains growth. I mean, that's the reality of what government is supposed to do with your tax dollars. So, can we ever achieve fully fixing all the things that we've neglected? No. But we can start today by looking forward and organizing and understanding what it is, the total cost of ownership for all the assets that we currently have, and then start to prioritize those things. I think the 1 cent sales tax referendum went down both times because I believe the public thought that money was going to be spent on other items that weren't necessarily deferred maintenance items. Then they were right. I hate to tell you all, I was there. I worked on the inside. You're right.
Just
they
like
were.
a man and one.
The reality is, government, as was stated earlier, government gets money and they want to spend it on wants. We have to start to be able to focus on our needs. There are desperate needs that we have in this county, and maintaining our infrastructure needs is the most important thing. Capture and understand what the true cost of ownership is for all the assets that we currently have, and then move forward. And then down the road, as wants come on, and the public wants them, the need for public infrastructure or additional wants that come out, certainly allow the public to come in and ask for those things. But we need to first understand what the total cost of ownership is for our assets.
As I said, I've sat on the commission for 16 years, and I've been in the minority on that commission for 12 of those years. And I've watched as commissioners prioritize building new things, building new roads, building new buildings, instead of maintaining the things that we have, opening new parks instead of maintaining the things that we have. We never put the maintenance money in for any of the facilities that we built. We have the money. We just passed, the majority board just passed a budget. I voted against it, $435 million. You think we can't find money in there to maintain our infrastructure? We have it. We just have had reckless spending by the board majorities for 12 of the last 16 years. So we just need to be conservative about our fiscal spending.
Mr. Mayor, I'll speak to priorities, most important. I agree that the county has plenty of money, but we need to prioritize it and put infrastructure improvements on top. A lot of the projects that the county built and improved, and I've watched it over the years as well, should take a back seat because we let the infrastructure deteriorate, and now it's catch-up time, and the longer we wait, it's going to cost more. So my position is going to be find money, prioritize, and get it done.
I think we're all echoing the same thoughts on here, right? It's back to the basics. And when I say that, it brings me to an acronym, EPE. It's not another government agency, but to me it means environment and infrastructure, public safety, and education. Those are the pillars of our community, and those are the priorities to me. Environment, infrastructure, public safety, and education go back to the basics, and we do have to monitor and prioritize our spending. And I think one of the candidates up here likes to quantify it as wants versus need, Harold, but it is wants versus needs. We need to invest in our core infrastructure first.
In November, the county commissioners agreed to pay Lake Point $12 million to settle a 4-year-old lawsuit. The final cost of the deal, including legal fees, could be closer to $20 million. Former County Commissioner Maggie Herchala also lost a $4.4 million lawsuit to Lake Point. 7 current and former commissioners, including one here tonight, face charges related to alleged public record violation. One candidate here apparently worked for Lake Point at one point. But let's not talk about what's already passed. Let's think about the future. Everyone likely agrees this is a big mess. So the question is, how does Martin County avoid more Lake Points in the future?
We didn't breach the contract. We never breached the Lake Point contract. The board settled, the majority board settled, but they shouldn't have because we didn't do anything wrong. They agreed to pay them $12 million. I don't know why, but we didn't do anything wrong. We shouldn't have paid them down. We didn't break any, I didn't break any public records laws either. I will prove that. I have served you honestly, with integrity, with transparency, and trust for 16 years. How we avoid doing this is getting these lawsuits. You don't make mistakes, and you don't settle lawsuits that you're not guilty.
Unfortunately, at this point, the court system doesn't agree with that comment. So right now, moving forward, the only way I think that we can avoid this moving forward certainly is to be honest, be open, be transparent, and understand that when we do sign contracts and they're legally bound through the county, that we stay out of it. If there's an issue, certainly everybody, the public's allowed to comment, the public's allowed to bring in opinions about whether or not they believe something is right, something is wrong, or something's been done improperly. But the reality is, the best way for us to avoid these in the future is to be friendly to business, encourage business growth. Business is what pays tax dollars for us. Business is what provides jobs for our youth and our future here. And instead of scaring businesses out of town, instead of threatening businesses, I think we need to be a bit more friendly to businesses. And certainly we can do that, and we can do it by staying within our comprehensive growth management plan guidelines.
I don't know if you speak to the particulars of Lake Point, but as being a citizen of Martin County, I know there's several lawsuits. It's not the only one of the lawsuits that have been brought up against Martin County. I've been knocking on doors. A gentleman who used to live in Hope Sound, he had a permit to build something on his property. Within 90% of being complete, they pulled the permit from him. He then sued the county for undisclosed amount, and he actually won. These lawsuits are starting to take property rights away, or maybe they're not following a comp plan, whatever have you. Ethics. As a licensed professional, I am to uphold life, safety, and welfare. That is my job on a daily basis to do that. It would be the same as county commissioner. It is my job to uphold that. To be a public servant, to actually have my door open to each and every one of you, regardless of who you support today. Because that's, as a public servant, we need to be more communicative, more open mind, more open door policy, more transparent, and definitely we need to be held accountable. That's how we avoid lawsuits in this county.
So yes, this whole situation has been very unfortunate. I mean, this is millions of dollars we could use for an infrastructure backlog and other projects that are waiting. So, the question was, how can we stop this in the future? Well, I guess you vote for the candidate you trust, number one. Number two, I think what we should do in Martin County is I think we should hold some public workshops. We should have our legal staff, host these workshops, and we should educate the public on when you want information from the county, how to file the forms, your legal rights, so on and so forth. I think that could really help this situation.
I'm intimately familiar with this because I am the candidate who actually did, in 2008, was hired as a client for Lake Point. At that time, it was approved 5-0, 5 versus 0 by the Martin County Board of Commissioners. Lo and behold, we all went about our lives. And the problem with balance and transparency is it comes back and it bites you. So there are a lot of emotional details, and we could probably discuss them for hours and hours. It took years to play out in court, but I will tell you, I'm accountable for the decisions Stacey Hetherington has made over the last 20-some-odd years, and I will be perfectly accountable for those. The commission should also be accountable for the decisions that they made, right or wrong. So if you have any questions on, some of the issues, but the way we can avoid, I believe, lawsuits in the future is balance, communication, and transparency.